This is going to be a little show and tell video on this particular unit. This is a old style Gallagher M800. This is, I think the serial number on the inside, the sticker's all wore off in the front right here. You can hardly read it. It was a little number right there, but it's all wore up. But the inside sticker, this is a 2005 model M800. They do make a newer version now. M800 came out, I think, 2018. But this version was around from the early 90s. And then there's a version before it called the BEV3, BEV3. The same guts, just a different sticker on the outside. That was around in the mid-80s, mid to late 80s. And then the M800 came out in the early 90s. So this is basically roughly a 40-year-old design unit. From when it was first designed and built back in the mid-80s. But this is a 2005 model. It's probably one of the last years they built this unit. This would probably be about a $350 unit back in the 90s and 2000s, early 2000s when it was being produced and sold and everything. Gallagher sold a lot of these units. These are really, really, really good old school units. This whole generation of fence chargers from Gallagher was really good. Anything from the 80s and 90s, early 2000s was a really cream of the crop in my book when it came to long-term reliability. This generation probably put Gallagher on the map. They were around way before that, selling chargers, but this is what sold people on Gallagher when they bought one of these. And these things, I think this has only been worked on one other time, and not by us, but somebody. They repaired the board, and then they put some screws to hold the strap in, or the clamp in place to hold the transformer in place. I couldn't tell. The transformer was bad on this one. Here's what it looked like. It was all burnt up. It has no sticker on there, so this is a factory transformer from 2005. The replacement parts would have a sticker on there with a serial number of when it was built, when it was produced, the transformer itself. So this has never been changed. So this is a 13-year-old, or shit, no, a little older than that, 18-year-old fence charger. So that transformer lasted 18 years before it finally went kaput. And I think lightning got a hold of it anyway. So if this lightning hadn't gotten a hold of this, I think this thing would still be running 18 years later. So that tells you the quality of parts that people used to make. I mean, Gallagher's good today. Prices are getting kind of excessive in my opinion, but like everything else has gone up in price the last few years. Everything's going up, so fence chargers not any different. But they are a really good brand. So if you're considering buying one or looking for a fence charger, if you want like buy once, cry once, or cry once, buy once, whatever how the phrase goes, buy a Gallagher, and you won't go wrong with the quality. Parts are plentiful for them as well. Now on this one, had two problems. Transformer was bad, and capacitor was very weak. It's a 40 microfarad capacitor, reading like 22. So we put a new one of those in. And we don't use Gallagher's. They do sell a transformer for this model still today. Excessive price on the thing for what it is. So we don't buy them. We install a different one. It takes a little longer to install, but it's cheaper in price and stuff. But it's good quality. We've never had a problem with them, and we've used them for years now. So and then we put a different transformer in there. As well, bolted it, rewired it, retrofitted it in there, and the thing took right off. Board was still good. Actually, both boards inside this thing was still good. I've got lots and lots of videos on YouTube already. I've had a test and work on these things, so that's why I didn't make a video on it. But I want to talk a little bit about this one. We'll plug it in here. I want to show you some of the performance of the thing. It's got two lights in the front. It's going to be hard to see. I'll turn the lights off here overhead. There's two lights on it. You got your fence or energizer OK light they call it. It's basically a power light, dummy light, telling you, hey, the power's on. And then you have a fence OK light, tells you if the fence is good or not, basically. It takes about 3,000, 4,000 volts, somewhere in that range, to make this light flash. And so this light can actually burn out or actually be removed, and the unit will still run. It's just a light to tell you, hey, I'm turned on, I'm running. But the light's burned out, and you plug it in, it's still clicking. Well, this light doesn't mean anything anyways. So it just tells you that the unit's powered on and running. It's Energizer's OK light. And if you're hooked up to the fence and ground and this light's flashing, usually as long as the rest of everything on the output side is good. This will tell you that, okay, your fence is fine because you got at least 4,000 volts coming out of the charger on the fence. And if for some reason you walk out there in the next week or two and the light wasn't flashing but still clicking, typically it means you got a fence problem, because of things being dragged down below 4,000 volts, the light won't flash. If you unhook everything from it, no fence, no ground, plug it back in, light goes back to flashing again, then about 80% of the time the unit's fine, and it's something on the fence dragging you down somewhere. So I really like these old ones. The new ones don't have the this feature in it. It has just basically a dummy light, tell you the power's on, but has no other function than that. So one thing I don't like about their new ones, I wish they would put like 2 lights on it, or maybe have 2 bulbs on their units, one that flashes all the time with power, and maybe we'll switch to a red light telling you, hey, you got a problem. But they don't do that. They're just one single light on it that tells you power's on, but you don't know if it's got 2,000 volts or 10,000 volts. You don't know unless you go out there and test the stupid fence and see what's going on with everything. So let's test this unit out. We're going to use our fancy tester here. This is a Energizer performance meter. It's going to tell us quite a bit of information on the unit. We're going to do, we're probably going to go down to at least 200 ohms on the unit to see what kind of load it handles and what kind of voltage and joules we get. Now this is an 8 stored joule unit based on the factory specs from what they stated. That's what the M800, 8 stands for 8 stored joules, not output joules. It's basically like engine horsepower versus your wheel horsepower to tires. So that's where Gallagher gets their number from, not the wheels, but to get at the engine, which most like brands of cars, when you buy a car, truck, whatever, about 700 horsepower. Well, that's 600 horsepower, 500 horsepower. What are the horsepower? That's at the crank. That's at the engine, not the wheels most times. So that's where Gallagher gets their number at, is at the capacitor basically on the inside. So we're going to test open circuit voltage. We're going to put it across here. Take our leads here, put it across the terminals at the bottom. And it's this transformer that we've got in there. It's putting out 8.5 kV open circuit, no load. We're going to put a 1,000 ohm load, which is not a very heavy load for a charger this size. And we're going to see what the output joules is going to be. We're back across there. Let's see. What's going on here? Why is it not showing me my joules? Let's go to 500 ohm load. Maybe it's not heavy enough load. Alright, what we got going on here? Turn it off and back on again. There we go. For whatever reason, it wouldn't give me the reading. Now with 500 ohm load, we're at 8.2 kV and about 4 joules roughly at 500 ohms. And most times on between stored and output joules, you usually get anywhere from 50 to 75% of the actual stored joules makes it to the output. So it all depends on the efficiency of the transformer, you know, and everything. So because there's always loss between stored and output, just like horsepower on a vehicle. There's always loss between engine horsepower and the horsepower to your wheels, because you got to go through the transmission, drive shaft, differential, all that stuff. So there's always loss between all that stuff. It's not a 100% ratio, 1-to-1 kind of thing. So we're at almost 50% of the joules that's coming out at 500 ohms. So we're getting almost 4 joules on an 8 joule unit. So let's go to 200 ohms. And that really dragged it down. We're reading 2.2 joules at 7,000 volts. Oh, wait a minute, I was on the wrong, I need to adjust my switch. There we go. Now we're doing good. Now we're at 5.4 joules at 7,000 volts. I need to adjust this switch to the next, to match up with that number, this number up here. I had to adjust that switch to match that number, and I forgot to do that. It's still set on that number there. So now we're getting 5.3 joules at 7,000 volts. 5.4. So we're getting like, what, 60, 70, 60 some percent, because 50% was 4. So up to another joule and a half roughly. So we're about 65-70% of the outputs or joules is actually making it out of the unit under that kind of load. Let's put on 100 ohm just to see what it does. Sometimes if you get down to a heavy enough load on a unit, unless it's a giant joule rated unit, you get to a certain point, it's just too much for a unit to handle, and it kind of goes past its threshold. So we'll put it across there and see. Yeah, we went past our threshold. We're at 4.9 joules, so our joules went down. Voltage dropped, of course, because we went into a higher load on the thing, and now we're at 4.9 joules, so we actually went past its threshold. There's probably a fine line between 100 and 200 ohms. Like if we went to this 150 ohm setting over here, which I got a 75 ohm resistor. It's a 300 watt 75 ohm resistor, great big honking thing. I've got a 150 ohm load somewhere, but I can't find it. I ordered it, got it, put it somewhere, can't find it. It never even made it to the shops. It's probably at the house somewhere inside, hiding. Maybe one of the kids found it. I don't know. But anyway, this is it's up to about 5.5 joules roughly output. So it's 8 stored, 5.5 joule output. So pretty hot little unit. And we'll throw let's turn the unit off for a second. We'll unplug it from the wall, and we'll turn the lights off here. It's getting kind of dark outside, so we'll really should be able to see the spark jump on this thing. Pretty nice now. Let's plug the unit back in, and we'll grab a couple screwdrivers. I'm just going to create a spark gap between the fence and ground. Just see what kind of spark this thing throws out. And I've already kind of done this with a pair of needles pliers across the two terminals, but I never created a gap between it to see exactly how bright and strong it is. So it touches the ground and hot, and we're going to lean towards each other. So nice hot spark. So another thing about these older models, Gallagher themselves don't work on them anymore. They don't, unless it's some silly, simple repair. Maybe they could fix a board or something like that. But they don't make any transformers for it. They don't have any more boards for it, input or output. Capacitors about the only thing they have. I don't even know if they even got the casings anymore. So the customer had 2 of these units, and if both of these that went to the Gallagher or somebody else to fix possibly, they would have been up the creek without a paddle. So they would have not been able to get these fixed because the transformer was bad. Gallagher no longer makes the transformer anymore, so we retrofitted one into it. Capacitors they've got, of course, but we've got another one in there that's, I think, a better quality or similar quality, but a lot cheaper in cost to buy one and install it. For the customer, so it saved money all around. There's about $800 worth of fence charges that got sent in to us, and we fixed both of them for like 30% of that cost. So he's pretty excited. So good to go there. But anyways, check out our other videos. We got 900 and something videos on YouTube of all sorts of fence chargers. We've been doing the YouTube stuff, video wise, basically promote our business of who we are and what we do and how to advertise basically for us. And then, people want to learn how to work on stuff. We got some videos how to fix things, look at things, and hopefully if you want to help us out, buy parts from us. We'll see if we can we'll happily sell you parts for most models and brands. There's one brand in particular we cannot sell parts for because they have a lock on that. They've got a rule in place, some kind of insurance liability thing. So that's that one brand. Not Gallagher. We can sell parts for Gallagher if we got them in stock, and other parts for some other brands if we have them in stock as well. So we'll help you out where we can. We always give free estimates and 18-month warranty and all the repairs that we do to a unit. Lighting is part of that warranty as well. And Like, we work on all brands, all ages, old stuff from 40 some years ago to new ones today. If it can be taken apart and worked on and possibly be fixed, we'll definitely give it a shot. We don't turn anything down unless it's just a piece of cheap junk thing that comes into us. And sometimes we'll fix those, but sometimes we'll retrofit a different part in it to make it better quality, to last longer, that sort of thing. So there's some good stuff out there, fence charger wise. There's some mediocre, and there's some shit stuff out there too. So there's a little bit of everything, good, bad, and the ugly, everything that's out there. But Gallagher is definitely a good brand today. I just don't like the price tag of their stuff. I think it's over. They're the most expensive brand out there. I don't know if that's, I would think, personally wouldn't think that would be something to be proud of. Yeah, I'm sure they got a lot of overhead and a lot of people to pay, but geez, there's other stuff out there that perform just as well or better. It may not last as long, but you can almost buy 3 of them for the price of one Gallagher, that sort of thing. But that is what it is. But anyways, until next time, hope you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button, tell your friends about us. And until next time, we'll see you guys later on.